Yeah, this is the Barefoot Broadcast. I'm the Barefoot Broadcaster, Carl Munson. Just ending the last hour there, you heard Dr. John Briffer talking about the hazards of modern medicine. Slightly alarmist, but quite interesting. And we're going to take things to a new level now. Oh, and just before you heard me, you heard Katie Whitehouse and a tune called Upstream. Now, Nick Fonn, my guest now for the Law of Attraction in Action hour between 9 and 10 UK time for the next hour here on the Barefoot Broadcast will know what I'm getting at by playing a tune called Upstream. Did you see what I did there, Nick?
Yeah, very, very clever. I like the segue into that.
No, you sound a little bunged up, lad. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. I've been better, but, hey, roll with the punches.
Okay, quite a lot going on maybe. Well, it's said that when people have colds, it's because they got a little bit too much going on. It's the body saying, whoa, hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I had a pretty full weekend last weekend, so I think it's just telling me to slow down a little. So I am.
All right, terrific. Well, great to hear your voice. Let's have a nice leisurely hour, shall we, and take it nice and easy. I'm a bit tired myself, a bit cream crackered, as we say in the UK here. And yeah, it'd be nice to just have a nice, cosy, quiet chat with you. Nothing too strenuous tonight, because it sounds like we both could do with a bit of a recharge. So apart from overdoing it a bit and ending up with a bit of a cold there by the sound of it, what have you been up to in the last week, Nick?
I've been up to, I had my group. I think it's been 2 weeks since I spoke to you, and I did my prep because I know you asked people how their week's been, and I have absolutely no idea how to check my phone. But, yes, no, since I last spoke to you, I had my group, and that was full. That was really lovely mix of co-creators, old and new, so that was really, really nice. And then I went away to Oxford for my friend's birthday, and, yeah, I think that's we were partying out till late. That weekend, and I came home, and then I had a social meeting, and then I had another night out. So I think that's what brought on the cold. So I've been taking the rest of last week very easy.
However, you've also won the lottery since I last spoke to you. Congratulations.
Thank you
hold
so
on a minute.
much.
Hold on. How many millions did you just say?
£6.90, which is about $15, I think.
£6.90. Better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, because that we'll have a big chat about this later. But that actually represents much more than meets the eye. So yeah, and that's what I wanted to cover later on in the show, which will be quite fun to talk about.
Brilliant. Right. Okay. So what did you have in mind in the meantime? I think we're going to be talking about your wonderful YouTube channel, aren't we?
Yeah, a few days ago we hit over 500,000 views, which was really, really amazing for me. I absolutely loved
it. Congratulations.
Thank you. It started about, this is interesting because this is kind of living the contrast and then letting it work itself out, because first time round I set up my channel, it was a load of, I put Abraham speaking, like their videos. I put whack load of them up, and then I didn't realize that you're not supposed to do that. So they brought that down, so I was a bit annoyed by that. But I just let it ride, and I thought, well, they do let everyone put up audio clips of it. So I think it was about a year, it must be about a year ago now, that I just started putting a whole load of audio clips, and I put my trademark beach photo so people know it's me. And then it's just grown and grown over the years. I just uploaded a chunk of clips every so often. And obviously with all the radio stuff that's been going on and all the shows that I've been doing and everything, I've started doing my own work now. So it's just grown, and it's grown really nicely, and I've just let it go. And that was really nice. Step 1, step 2, step 3 answer. And now, I mean, 500,000's a lot, but it's not that, it doesn't feel huge to me. It's just next logical step. So, but I'm really enjoying that experience. And I don't even have my own living room, so,
Yeah, isn't that great? How because we've spoken before about this, haven't we? How the change, the rapid change in human consciousness that we feel is going on is mirrored, related to, underpinned, accelerated by the changes in technology, and it is an amazing thing. Can you imagine, like 20 years ago even, 10 years ago even, if you wanted to share movie clips or audio clips with other people around the world in the way that you've done, 500,000 in that little amount of time, You'd have struggled, wouldn't you? You'd have had to sort of hijack a major broadcasting corporation to do that.
Absolutely. Even radio, like I would imagine you need some huge setup, whereas now all you need is a half decent laptop, the internet connection, and Skype, and all that's either cheap or free. You know,
Yeah.
it's absolutely amazing, and the amount of people that you can reach, like you get the demographics, and people all over Europe, Canada, America. It's just crazy how many people it reaches, and you don't even have to do anything more than just put it there. And that's what I like about it, is that you don't force it on anyone. It's like law of attraction will bring you to the material. If it speaks to you, great. If it doesn't, then just move along.
Yeah, terrific. So tell me about some of the feedback you've had and the impact that you've had on people as well from this wonderful site.
Oh, it's just lovely because obviously you've got the comments that people make, and it's a mixture of, you know, I knew this, or I stumbled across this, and it matches what I know, to, oh, I did this and this happened. And the clips that are out there are so diverse. And one of the things that I really enjoyed doing quite recently was the Panama, the interviews that you guys played last week.
Yeah,
and
brilliant.
Our review of the Panama cruise, because I've always wanted to note that. And for people who, because obviously the cruises are a bit of a big thing, like you have to travel to America. If you're not from America, like us, you have to go all the way from the UK, or people on Australia, or maybe even Asia. But not everyone can do that. So I wanted to say, well, here's what you do, this is what happened, and this is what went on in the lectures. And again, I wanted to bring that to people who you know, might not have been interested or had the ability to go. And already some of the feedback was like, I just listened to like the first 10 minutes of this and I booked my place on the cruise. So, you know, I should be getting some kind of commission cut. Cause that
Yes,
would be so
indeed.
much fun to do. That would
Come on, Esther and Jerry. You know this boy. He's doing so much work on your behalf. At least maybe a complimentary place or an upgrade on the cruise next time. Where's the next one, Nick? Do you know? Have they announced the next one? Or?
It's Alaska. The next one's Alaska, which is in June.
Oh, sounds good. You going?
I'm not currently. I mean, that might change, but it's just a bit too much. Like, I'd have to get 2 flights or 1 long flight with BA, and yeah, so I'm letting that one go. But they are planning, from what I've heard, they've got a 2-week-long Hawaii cruise at the beginning of next year, and they're coming to the Mediterranean, fingers crossed, in the summer. So that's what I'm holding out for.
Sounds very special. Excellent, excellent. And that lady on the end of your interviews that we played last week, who has the affirmation, Source loves me, I think, and showers me with gifts.
I love that.
She's an extraordinary woman, isn't she? Tell us a bit more about her from what you remember, Nick, because I thought I mean, they were all wonderful people, without a doubt, and they were sharing some wonderful stuff. But it seemed that lady had some particularly powerful experiences in terms of the impact, or how she's let in the law of attraction and the amazing results she's getting.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that'd be cool. We can cover each of them. But to start up with her, her name's Janine Broderick, and she's absolutely amazing. I've known her, how long have I known her now? I think only a year. Me and Nadira, we both went out and we met her, I think it was Mexico cruise 2010, and she was with the partner that she spoke about in the interview that she's no longer with. And she was lovely. Like, we connected immediately, and we just stayed in touch via Facebook and all these, you know, wonderful ways of communicating. And then she's just taken it to the next level of knowingness, as you can tell when you speak to her. There's just something there. And then I met up with her on the cruise, and you know, you just speak to her, and it's just phenomenal. And she's got such a great spirit. I mean, I don't know, and I wouldn't want to divulge her age or whatever, but she's got the spirit of a 22-year-old, as she likes to say. And she's on the dance floor, like from you know, beginning of, as soon as the club opens, she's there to the closing minute, and I just love dancing with her because she's just there doing her own thing all night, you know, hardcore, and she's just wonderful. And I was very keen to interview her because we were just having a dinner, and she just spoke about the relationships, and everyone was going on about how breakups and this, that, and the other, and, you know, obviously being Avers, you try to keep it in the best space, but it's not always possible. And she just said, when I broke up, there was no heartbreak for me, because that is when you're disconnected. Whereas if you see only love, and she truly did, then you're able to hold that person in that love. And therefore, when they split, it wasn't, a hating split. It was just a mutual, okay, well, let's move on now. And there was no negative feelings. And, that's not always doable, but I think that's certainly a wonderful thing to achieve if you don't, because you don't need to experience negative emotions, but, it's just one of those things that you do. So,
well, it's saying an extraordinary example, isn't it, of what's possible? Because it's like with so many things, with the law of attraction, and certainly the way that Esther and Jerry Hicks play it, it gives you a new option, doesn't it, in life? So death's another example, isn't it? Is that Abraham talks about croaking and how we take death very well, a little too seriously perhaps sometimes. And obviously, it's a devastating, horrible thing. I've been with my elderly father tonight, and it's on my mind a lot. But to be given the option of seeing it in a new way, in that same way that Janine's talking about relationships ending, it needn't necessarily be as devastating. If whilst you're in the relationship, or you're in the relationship with a person who inevitably will die, as we all will, you deal with it differently.
No, and you bring up a really, really excellent point, because Abraham are very quite, well, we would say harsh with this, but they're very, well, get over it, like they're just dead.
Irreverent.
And for them, obviously, they're technically dead, if you will. So it's like, well, what's the fuss? You can still connect with whoever. And, a lot of people say, but your relationships change. But they said it needn't be that way. You can connect with anyone in any time-space reality if you tune your vibration to it. Esther's father and her cat, they had both passed at different times. But I remember a story of them saying that Esther was in her cabin feeling a bit sad about her cat passing. And then the lights flashed in the cabin, and she's like, I know that's my cat doing that. And then she just felt that warmth that, it is okay, and why is she getting so upset? And when her father passed, she felt the hit, obviously. She was quite sad about it. But when she got herself into a better space, she started communicating with her father, and obviously he was in a place of pure positive energy. So the messages that she was getting from him were very happy, happy, happy. And she's like, Abraham, are you sure that's him? And you're not pretending to be him? And Abraham are like, well, come on, Esther, you know us better than that. You know who your father is. But now he's in that pure happy space. So, and that's when people pass. That's, if you believe this school of thought, then that's what they'll go to. They'll just be that pure positive energy that they'll go back to. So there's no reason for sorrow at all. Basically, as they say it. So,
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely food for thought. It's very comforting to even entertain the possibility. I think that we may be able to deal with it more in that spirit as time goes on, and as we deepen our understanding and are maybe a bit more adventurous with our awareness and our consciousness, and how we deal with all manner of terribly upsetting things in our lives. Now, there's an important question from the chat room tonight. Lumpy's in the house. Great to have your company, Lumpy Custard. Where you been, man, over the last few weeks? Anyway, you don't need to answer that. It's just great to have you back. And we were talking about the cruises, and I think this is what Lumpy is asking about. What about their carbon footprint? Now, is it all right for me to put you on the spot like this?
Yes,
this is the Law of Attraction in Action program, so it would be good, wouldn't it, if we can sort of tackle any issue at all in the way that what does Esther say when she's inviting questions? Nothing's off limits.
Yeah.
We can at least have a little go at this, can't we, and have a chat about it. The environment, what we're doing to the environment, what we appear to be doing to the environment on this physical plane, and how the law of attraction seems quite glib in a way about that. So let's open up a discussion on the relationship between manifestation, the law of attraction, and having the world as we want it to be. Yet on the other hand, we have this beautiful planet, and we seem to be ruining it. What do you make of that?
For me, you have to see it as pure well-being, and someone who poses that question might not hear this answer, but you just put it out there anyway. It is
good
true.
preface.
Because people say, what about the murders, what about the rapists? And if you've been through that, it can be very hard to get your head around it. But that's an excellent question. Well, what about the environment? There was this gent talking about Abraham saying, I drive I don't know anything about cars, produces a load of gasoline and this, what do people protesting and saying you shouldn't be doing that, you should be driving, walking or doing more environmental things. And it goes back to the point of this planet is unlimited. If you want to go down that route, then technically we've been in peril since the dawn of time, because man has always found things to complain about, spots of bother. If you took all the not well-being in the world and flashed it across the news in relationship to the well-being, it would be less than a second, because well-being is such a predominant vibration. And people, because you're trained to see the news and see all that negativity, you can't have access to that if you're in that space. But once you trust that the planet's resources are unlimited, that when you ask, it is given, whether it's in your environment or abundance or health, once you trust that if you're asking for that, then that will come. And the planet's resources are infinite. And you have to trust and know that. I mean, look at all of us, wherever we are. I'm in my room, and there's no one trying to take me down. I've got electricity, I've got warmth, I've got everything I need. And once you're in that pocket of well-being, you can trust that and know it truly. And when it comes to the environment, or these so-called things that we're destroying our planet or we're burning it down, that is not the case. The world is thriving for the most part. It's having its changes now, but that's just the reflection of the quickening of energy. And on the other side of that, if you see the world as flawed and, this person's digging up this and we're using all the resources, then you're not part of the solution anyway. You cannot access that. But once you start trusting in the well-being, you might be the person who invents that so-called environmentally friendly carbon or petrol, which does save the world, as Steve Jobs done with the technology industry. He's revolutionized it. Now everyone's following him, but he couldn't have got there from beating the drum of what was wrong with the technology world in the first place. He had his dream. This is how I want it to be. This is the planet that I give birth to, and align with that. And whoever has issue with carbon footprint or whatever, if they can turn their attention to the solution, then that will come, and they could technically, in inverted commas, save the world.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. Well, we will return to the chat room, I'm sure, to get some responses to that. Although some of these things I can read out, some of them I don't feel very comfortable reading out from the chat room in order not to offend people. But there's certainly a nice light-hearted bit of wisdom from Lumpy Custard about knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is knowing a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad. You can't argue with that, can you? You can't argue with that. And Cheryl has very kindly put the link to your YouTube channel as well in there. YouTube.com/user/AbeNicks, ABENICKS, for those of you listening in the archive. Where were you tonight? And what I'll do, Nick, is I will just play your show jingle just to remind everybody where they are right now, and we'll be back after this. You're listening to Nick Fon's Law of Attraction in Action show. Find out more at www.thebarefootbroadcast.com. Yeah, the Barefoot Broadcast, the Law of Attraction in Action show with Nick Fon, as you heard there. The number to call if you want to come on and talk about the Law of Attraction, 347-857-3198, your international code to the United States first, and then 347-857-3198. Yes, the environment, that's a bit of a chestnut that comes up, isn't it? There are a few evergreens, aren't there, in the discussion around the Law of Attraction. Have you got any favourites, Nick? The things that keep coming up in your classes, for example? Not so. I do like the trickier questions, I have to say. You do? I do. Personally, I like the nitty-gritty questions, but, I'll take anything. And that goes beyond giving an answer. It's just that I know this so thoroughly that I can just offer my answer if someone else hears it. Great. If not, then, it's not my job to convince them otherwise, because, I know this works for me. So, just hear someone else without knowing this. I was thinking about this last night actually because we had Lumpy in the chat room last night, who's a big fan of the Hyde Park Corner debates on a Sunday, and it occurred to me that that's really a sport, isn't it? Because it's just kind of who wins the argument, and it's not necessarily anything to do with change at all. In the way that I would claim that the law of attraction is very much about change, because how you rearrange and focus your personal energy is the reality you create. I suppose if you go up to Hyde Park Corner on a Sunday and have a row with people, you just end up feeling a bit like you've had a row with people in Hyde Park. that's what you've done with your energy.
Actually, can I come back to that? Because we were in Oxford, and I think I have absolutely no idea what the man was talking about, but you had one of those kind of preacher-style peoples up on the middle of Oxford. And I can't remember what he was saying, but my friend kind of took part in it, and he started an argument with my friend, or I think my friend started arguing with him, and he's like, "Oh, hellfire and brimstone, you're good, you devil spawn," and my friend got quite upset by it. And I'm like, go there. If you're gonna argue, do it for the fun of it. And I know, it's like, to have fun with it, and that sounds weird, but if I'm gonna have an argument with it, someone wouldn't know I can't do now. It's just a fraction of riding someone up, because sometimes that could be a bit fun, mix it up. But do not try and change anyone. I wouldn't want to, and again, if they're in that disconnected state, that's right for them, but that has no impact on me, and I can be happy whatever. And that's what's taught me so much. This has truly taught me more unconditional love than any kind of religion or other thing, faith system. And it's not even about unconditional love necessarily. It's not something you must do. But I've learned it by just letting everyone be who they are, and trusting that whatever their vibration is, they'll get that, and I'll be my own little corner, and I'll get what is in my vibration, and that's the way it goes.
Brilliant. Okay, and now I know that Lumpy as well has asked before when we've had psychics on the show. He said, "Why can't psychics predict the results of the lottery or the pools or whatever?" And this is where we're going to go this evening, isn't it? Because we had a wonderful Blue Buddha experiment, didn't we? Where Benjamin invited people to, or was it you? I can't remember who came up with that Blue Buddha idea, or was it Gary? Was it our friend Gary?
It was Gary. I wasn't. I actually listened to that show afterwards. I wasn't able to be in the chat room live, but I saw the Blue Buddha, which was nice.
I saw the Blue Buddha. It's almost a T-shirt.
I went on holiday and all I got was this Blue Buddha.
Are we gonna up the stakes tonight? And are we gonna have a little experiment? And we're gonna see if we can do what you did last week, which was win the lottery. Do you want to go into your experiment and then sort of expand that, and we could all take part? Have a quick look in the chat room, see if anyone's up for playing this game tonight.
Well, I'll speak about how I came to this, and then I want to get some fine-tuning points in, because it's not quite what it appears to be. Well, it is and it isn't. But for me, because I'm at that point now where, again, I know it so well, it's something that I just play about with now. It really is just kind of fine-tuning, I feel, for me, more than proving it to myself that it works. So what happened was I just came across a whole load of Abraham clips and a load of people speaking to them about winning the lottery. You can just YouTube any of those. They're just so amazing. And above and beyond the lottery, it's the actual depth of the conversation, and it's really, really fine-tuning stuff. And that's what I loved about the clip. It makes you think, and I do like those clips that make you think, which, again, you asked me what my favorite questions were. It is the nitty-gritty ones, because they make you think. They call more from you than anything else. So I thought to myself, well, I'm gonna play the lottery. I'm gonna mess around with it, because, and I stress this highly, it's not that big a deal if I win or not. And that's what, for me, it's not that I need to spend this pound because I can't get income any other way, and it's desperate. And that's what I wanted to highlight first of all. It's one of my most least resistant topics. This, and it's also nice physical manifestational proof to me. It's just something that I wanted to play around with. So when people, Abraham really, like these conversations are about 20, 30 minutes long because they really unravel, because people walk in and say, I want to win the lottery. Obviously, once Abraham picks at their question, the vibration behind it, there's a lot going on. And part of that is, what does the lottery mean to you? And why do you want it? And what do you feel like when you've won it? Those are kind of the three main areas that they go into. So people give their various questions and answers to the lottery area. And a big thing that comes up is that it's big. It's a jackpot. I think in some of the cases, especially in America, it's like $100 million or something.
Wow.
So is their consciousness even ready for that? And some are, some aren't. So that's a big sticking point. And another one is helping the world. And Abraham, like at your source energy level, you don't need to save someone. You don't need to save anyone because they can create their own reality. So that's another sticking point. And also, what does it feel like? So what does it feel like to win the lottery? And, part of them easing the topic is to say that it's not about the money. You're not after the lottery for the money. You're after it for experience. You're after it for, you think it will make you feel better. You're after it for security, for freedom. These are the most emotional points. And that's something that they stress strongly. But once you've all aligned with those, then you should be able to win the lottery. So I started thinking, well, what does the lottery mean to me? And the term lottery, it means chance. Obviously, with the chance thing, when you hold that in chance, you're like, well, some of them ask them, what are the odds? It's like 1 in 14 million. So I thought I need to rename that because lottery to me, and again, I was working with my vibration and what I felt with it, which could be completely different to someone else listening. But for me, it's like, well, I need to rename it. So I called it the EIV, which is the Exponential Investment Vehicle. So what is an investment? An investment is, something that you put in and you expect some kind of return. And I use the term exponential because you put in £1 and you can get £7 million out of it. So that's already shifted it for me. It's switched from a game of chance to this investment. At some point, I'm expecting a return. So that already kind of made it, that for me, shifted it slightly. And
Brilliant.
For me, I've thrown out the notion of odds. It's just, you are in alignment or you're not. It's not one in 50 million. I just had to let that go. Maybe on some level I do believe it, maybe some level I don't, but at least I've got to tell that story that, it is or it isn't. I mean, someone said, well, what are the odds? And they're like 50-50. Either you win it or you don't. So that's how I did it. So I reframed it for that. And I thought, well, how else can I make it less resistant? So I chose to play it online using a lucky dip because I know that as soon as I started choosing the numbers, I think, is it me? Is it them? Are they going to come up with these numbers too close together, too far apart? So I would introduce my own resistance to it. So I thought I just let the universe choose it and I'll let them line out. So I hit lucky dip. And I did it online so that I don't need to check the ticket. They'll email me if/when I win. So I don't need to look at the ticket and think, oh, I've lost again. And for me, it just feels fun and free and easy. And also, I've been having conversations with my friends who know about this and my sister. And I'm like, what would I do? What would you do if you actually won? Because the people say, well, people either don't know what they do, not really. Or people say, oh, I'd go on holiday, I'd quit my job. But, I mean, and that's fine. But what would you really, 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 really do? If you had £2 million sitting in your bank account this very moment, what would you actually do? And and that's all the training to be, as if. What would happen as if? And that's the constant working into it. So you have to train your mind into dealing with that kind of money because then it's my next logical step. Because you've got those people who won the lottery who completely lose it or squander it or whatever because they're just not, at a vibrational match consciously to dealing with that money. It's kind of like if you give Richard Branson £1 million to invest, that he'd be able to deal with it. Whereas if you give your best mate at your work, maybe it'd get lost. So it's kind of concentrating that and getting your brain up to speed with that. And trusting that, just letting go, just having fun with it. So I played just some tickets on Saturday and, or Friday was it, I think. Yeah, it was Friday because there was the Euro Millions. And I just did lucky dip. And I think I got 2 or 3 numbers and 1 or 2 lucky stars. And that was a win of £6 or £7. And for me, that was my confirmation. Because I had played the lottery before. I don't play it that much, but in all the years that I've been alive, I've played it a fair amount, I'd say, on and off, and I had never got more than 1 or 2 numbers. I think I won a couple of quid the other day, and I got at least 2 numbers yesterday. And that is just consistent proof that I'm taking a step in the right direction. And for me, that's a big, because somebody might be listening and thinking, oh, that doesn't work, well, £6, £7, what's that going to do? But for me, that's the biggest confirmation. And again, it's building that up to whatever it will be. And for me, that's my confirmation that yes, this has worked, because that's never happened previously to that degree. I've never had that many chunk of numbers happen in a space of 2 or 3 days. And, that was just fun for me. And that's what I've learned and experiencing, and that's just been within a couple of days. So, it's just me continuously playing with the game and seeing where it goes.
Fascinating. In the chat room, Lumpy's saying, hold on a minute, I like proof. Now, what do you think of the word proof, Nick? Because proof is only what would appear to be the case, right?
Exactly, and the thing is with proof is because a lot of that did come up in the question. The question is when they were speaking to Aid, they're like, well, proof. But when you prove it, you're acting the vibration of not believing. Because do you need me to prove to you that the Earth is round? Do you need me to prove that the sun shines, that it exists? No, you take it for granted. It is there. I mean, law of attraction will yield proof to you if you want it, because that's law of attraction. But when you activate the vibration of I need proof, then that screams doubt.
Yeah. Loving this, okay. If you want to call in and talk to Nick, talk about the law of attraction, 347-857-3198. This is the Law of Attraction in Action show, where we're joined by Nick Fon between 9 and 10 UK time. So stick a USA dialing code if you're calling from outside the United States, and then call 347-857-3198. You can use Skype as well, and you can contribute via the chat room. So can we extend this then? Should we all sort of get involved in this? Is it going to help if more of us do it?
Yes and no, because that's one thing I was very conscious of when I wanted to open up to the group. Because sorry, excuse me. There's part of it which is like, this is fun, this is a group, and if a group can hold it long enough, then it's a little bit more powerful. But by the same token, if everyone's thinking, well, is it going to work, isn't it going to work, and now it's in a public forum, it might not work, then that would backfire. But I'd say, well, why not have fun with it? I mean, I would ask everyone in the chat room or who's listening to think, well, if money is their thing, if they want it, I mean, if they don't want it and they're happily, with the money that they have, then, whatever, that's excellent. Then try it with a relationship. But whatever it is, and for this purpose is just a lottery, just for the fun of it, if you had that £1 million, if you had that soulmate, if you had that perfect job, what would it feel like? What would you actually do? And that's something that I've been working with. What would I actually do if I had $1 million? Would I still go into work? Would I tell anyone? It's kind of, and that's all this game is. That's all this game is, believing it, whether it's manifest or not, and believing it so purely that nothing else can come into your vibration. And that or something better will occur. So I would say,
I really like the way you've done that, the way that you've changed the name. I mean, what's very interesting here is how we might do that with other things in our lives where we have a similar initial or reflex response. Because when I first did the lottery, when I think it first started in 1994, my very first effort netted me a tenner because it was pure play. Then after that, of course, you're thinking you've got some new thoughts, haven't you, that are being added to the old. Well, I just had an empty space. I thought, okay, I'll play at this. I got my daughter to choose the numbers. She must have been about 5 then or so. So we played it and we won a tenner and it was good fun. But then your ideas about life and the lottery and everything else come into the second time you play, don't they? Like, I wonder if I really am that lucky. I bet it doesn't happen for me again. And all this emotional stuff starts. And this is we're talking here, aren't we, about basic law of attraction. The basic laws of the law of attraction, if you like. As soon as you start to alter your vibes, you alter the outcome.
Exactly. And that's why for me, and again, that's why this is just for me, because somebody might hear me and say, I'm going to do exactly what he did. If it feels good to you, then great. But if it doesn't, then don't. Because again, it will back. But for me, I was like, well, can't choose the numbers because I know if I choose them that I'll start to introduce resistance. I can't check the ticket because I'm very easily discouraged. So that's why I did what I did, and that's why I was able to yield results for me so quickly, because I had to take the least resistant route. And obviously I know that because I'm fine-tuning it for me, and I know me, and I know this works. So that's what I worked out for me. And again, it was just fun. I mean, if you win, you win. If you don't, who cares? You know what I mean? That's why I said it's the least resistant topic for me. And it goes down to belief and doubt and, you know, proof, I guess. So it's just fun. I mean, going back to that Blue Buddha experiment, I remember the exact moment I came across that was I was listening to the bloopers clip that I made with you guys, and I was just pissing myself. I was just walking along to meet my friends. I remember this vividly in Purley Way or Milton Keynes or wherever it was, and I just had that on my train journey, and I laughed and I laughed and I laughed, and then I looked up, and boom, I saw Blue Buddha, and that was really cool. And again, that was least resistant space for me.
Yes, yeah. So obviously, what works is listening to some of the Barefoot Broadcast bloopers, which you can find if you go to allthews.thebarefootbroadcast.com. You hit the listen tab. There's all sorts of stuff that I've put up there now, and we do have some really funny moments. You know, we have some genuinely strange and odd things that happen on the show, and then we have some really funny moments as well that I think Nick is talking about there, where we went through a real spate. Mercury must have been in retrograde or something, because we had a spate of hilarious moments where we couldn't communicate with each other, and fortunately we were able to see the funny side of it. We didn't take it too seriously. I think it got to me after the second week of it though, and we had a remix of how we approached the show. But yeah, it was great stuff. And obviously another fundamental there of the law of attraction, it's so important to be in a state of ease and well-being, right, Nick?
Absolutely. Actually, you bring up a really, really good point there, because for some reason I always get stopped by security guards, and I always get ID'd, probably because I look as young as I do, and I'm always in a hoodie. But
you're asking for trouble.
But I always get stopped by U.S. Customs, and you know, I get grilled at the airport. And now it's just I've just come to chalk it off. I'm like, you know, it is what it is. Get over it. And the past 3 trips I've taken to the US, it's just got easier and easier and easier. When it came to the point when I stepped in Miami for my last cruise, the woman did not ask me a single question. She signed my visa form and let me straight into the country. Whereas my other friend, she got grilled properly. She was so upset. She got really grilled. And, you know, like going back to your technical issues, sometimes you'll just have a spate where the whatever will hit the fan, and you just got to chalk it off. And just say, well, that is what it is, and I'm so easygoing to so many things now. It's like, oh well, whatever, just let it go, you know. And either it will stop happening, or it won't bother you. In either case, you're not negatively affected. To the point where, you know, that was the nicest security trip I've ever had, and I just got way straight in.
Yes, I got frisked by a very fit security guard, for example. Right. Now, it's funny. Lumpy's saying, he's quite insistent. I think this is the 3rd time he's asked about this. Will it rain at the wedding on Friday? I don't know if that's because Lumpy's hired a suit and he's going to the wedding and he doesn't want to have to lose his deposit on the morning suit or whatever outfit he's hired. But I have my own theory about how it rains on bank holidays often in this country. I'm talking about the UK now. There'll be the day before a bank holiday, possibly. I think last Friday it happened. I think so in Devon anyway, but it's just happened at other times of the year where people are at work and the weather's really fine. And there's a general thought among people at work that why is the weather always fine when I'm at work? And their other thought that I think makes it rain on bank holidays is why does it always rain on bank holidays when I'm not at work? And that could be seen to be, again, another fundamental of the law of attraction.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting you bring that that thing up. I mean, personally, I don't think it's going to rain on the bank holiday, but I'm not around to see it anyway, so it doesn't really bother me.
Oh my God, that sounds drastic.
Oh no, I'm just popping off because it's my sister's birthday, so
all right,
we're popping away to Ireland. for the weekend.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's interesting that bringing the weather into this, because for me, I've always, well, I say lucky, I've always been quite aligned with the weather. I mean, I usually leave for work about 9:40 p.m. if I'm doing a night shift, and it will be raining at 9, and I'm like, okay, weather, you have like 20 minutes to stop raining, and about 85 to 90% of the time, it does stop, and I'm like, go where I go, the weather usually aligns when I need it to, and I'm very rarely ever caught in any kind of major storm. So maybe 2 or 3 times a year, if that. But other times, you know, maybe it's a light rain or usually nothing at all. And that's just a fun game. I'm like, okay, you have 20 minutes to stop raining, and it usually will. And again, Esther and Jerry, pretty much, I know Abraham said this, wherever they go, the weather's lovely. So if you're going to get married, get married in the city that they're in, because the weather is always lovely. And this did happen on the Mexico cruise last year. I remember on a whole number of tours, the tour guide said to us, last week you wouldn't have been able to go in the sea because it was that choppy. But the weather was sunny, it was lovely. And again, you know, kind of bringing this back to the whole chance and gaming. Somebody was in the hot seat spoke to them about slot machines. And the gist of it was Abraham said, you don't have control over when the slot machine will hit, but you, like anything else, have the opportunity to rendezvous at the right time. So that's why it's rendezvousing at the right time, because all these things are going on. Pollution is going on. Famine and war is going on, but it's up to you whether you align your vibration with well-being and you won't even be a part of that, or if you continue to look at what is and get drawn into that spiral. So again, you get to choose and you get to control everything to some degree.
Cool. And we like to make this practical, so I've got a suggestion after we come back, after we have another reminder of where we are here on the Barefoot Broadcast.
You're listening to Nick Fond's Law of Attraction in Action show. Find out more at www.thebarefootbroadcast.com.
Yeah, the Law of Attraction in Action show. We're not working you too hard, are we, Nick? I know you've got a bit of a cold, and talking for an hour may not be the best thing. You all right?
Yeah, I'm holding up.
All right, lovely. Now, Law of Attraction in Action. We're not, you know, we are interested in the theory, but we're not only interested in the theory. Actually, one of the reasons why I started doing this, the Barefoot Broadcast, was to be in the conversation around this wonderful insight, technology that is the Law of Attraction, so that we would be talking about it with people, we would be sharing in a community where people saw the magic, shared in the magic, and experimented with the magic. So what I would love from you tonight, Nick, in addition to the invitation that we've given everybody to play the lottery or the exponential investment vehicle, EIV, I think you put it in
memory.
Yeah, you know, what other homework would you set for people this week as little things they can do between now and next week when we speak again? And also from the chat room, I want some questions from you about some of the things you might like a little tweak on in your life. And bear in mind, we were talking about the lottery. It's not great to do the lottery when your mortgage payments are 5 months behind and you want to spend your last pound on winning the lottery to save your home, because there's going to be a little too much emotional baggage attached to creating a particularly good outcome. That's not to say it won't happen, but they're not the ideal circumstances. Am I right, Nick?
Spot on. Couldn't have put it better myself.
All right. Okay. I'm learning, man. I'm learning. Yeah. So if you've got something going on in your life, peoples, you know, not necessarily 5 months behind in your mortgage payments, but if you are and you do want a bit of Law of Attraction insight, I'm sure Nick can come up with something. I've no doubt about that, and I've every faith in his perceptions around the Law of Attraction. But yeah, suggestions from the chat room would be great. And Nick, what do you think? What can we share with people that they can have a little fun with in the coming week, and then report back on the show next week?
One thing actually which goes back to basics is meditation is a really, really good technique. Some of the listeners might do it already, some of the listeners might not be familiar with it, but meditation or visualization or listening to music with a conscious effort to feel good, those all kind of fall in the same category of distraction. Because all meditation is, in the school of thought, is silencing the mind so that the resistant thoughts stop, so your vibration naturally raises, because they say that you are like a cork underwater, being held when you've got any resistance, and when you let go of that resistance, you naturally float to the top. So that is what meditation is really good for, just breathing, just kind of silencing the mind. Personally, I find that very difficult, but it's still nice to just take a few minutes out, just take a few deep breaths, and do that.
Tell you what, mate. Well, how about, that old adage, you teach what you need to learn. Do you want to take us through something? I could put you on the spot here. You say you're not very good at it. I'm sure you're very good at it. And having the reason to teach everybody a little meditational workout might be just a thing.
Actually, yeah, I was thinking we could do that before we close. Actually, not a meditation talk through, but what would it feel like? And that's what actually remind me. I want to get some people to choose the lottery numbers, and that's kind of what I want our game to be around that. So if people get thinking, I don't know how many UK people we have, but we need 6 numbers between 1 and 49 for Wednesday. So people can get their hats on for that. So remind me to come back to that actually before we finish. But the other game that they've started introducing is 10 Things I Like About. That's Esther's brand new game. 10 Things I Like About Anything. 10 Things I Like About the room I'm sitting in. 10 Things I Like About the Barefoot Broadcast. 10 Things I Like About my best friend. and that's a very great game.
10 things that you like about the Barefoot Broadcast. I'll be up for hearing those. And I don't want it to take too long, because that'll be a very bad sign. Come on, everyone. 10 things you like about the Barefoot Broadcast. I'll start it off. I like this community that we've got here, the fact that we can connect with people around the world at will, and just have this conversation in the way that I longed for when I found out about these things. And here we are having it in our respective parts of the world, coming together on a daily basis and creating the sort of media I would love to see. And here we are, we've got it. So that's my thing. And Lumpy's saying me. That's sweet, Lumpy. Love you too, man.
You or him?
It's both of us. I think we've developed a bit of a mutual sort of admiration here. So yeah, he likes me, I like Lumpy. And my BBC voice, he likes that as well. The variety of information we've got from Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl. Very kind of you.
That's what I want, the diversity. You've got something for everybody.
Yeah. Now, why would we be doing this? Why is Esther suggesting this, Nick?
Because it helps shift your vibration, it helps you feel good. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. It is very simple, and it sounds a bit simple, but the message is get happy. If that was the one piece of advice for the crux of all the attraction teaching, money, jobs, relationship, what you want it to get happy. And if you can get happy before you get it, then you'll get it. But when you get it, you'll be happy anyway. So, and it's shifting your vibration. And if you can constantly do that, it keeps you in that good space, so good things will come through to you. It goes back to the very premise of that which is like unto itself is drawn. Think good things, get good things. And that's really as simple as that.
Yep. Okay. And my request for a bit of coaching, I am applying or have applied for a day job, a fabulous place where I happen to be staying as well. It's called Sealhane. It's 80 acres of former university ground where they used to teach agriculture to University of Plymouth students. Now they seem to teach agriculture in the city in front of computers. Back in the day, of course, they taught it in open fields and in a rural setting. This place called Sealhane. Now this organisation has a very, very amazing vision about how it works with young disabled people and disabled people as they go into the adult world, and how they can not make themselves useful but can feel useful and contribute to the community. And that's what this project is all about. It's a beautiful cafe, bistro, there are rehearsal rooms, recording studios, there's an outdoor pursuit centre, conference facilities. It's an absolutely magical place with an incredible take on integrating ability, disability and access for people. I want the job there as the marketing and communications man, and I'll be doing the Barefoot Broadcast in the evenings. at times I'm thinking, oh my God, I so want this job, I need this job. What's going to happen if I don't get it? How can you coach me in being around that?
You talk about it with great ease. Your appreciation, like everyone must have felt that, but your appreciation for that was exquisite. So, again, I would have to have a proper chat with you to find out where your sticking points are. But for the ease and purpose, and because we're in this space anyway, one technique that I get my clients to do is tell me your day as if it's happened. So let's pretend you've had your first day at work, or you've got the job, or whatever you want to focus on, and speak to me as if it's already happened. So, Nick, I woke up at 9 o'clock. Oh, my God, I had the best breakfast ever. And then I got my car to work, and then at 9:20 I had a meeting with the manager, and he gave me my first assignment. You get that going, speaking as if it's happened, but in the past. And that would be my first step for you.
Great idea. Excellent idea. Love that. Yeah, superb. Okay, thank you very much for that.
So that's what I encourage my friends to do. Write a diary entry as if it's already happened. I mean, my friend was doing that with me, and she wrote about this wonderful partner. She didn't give him a name, but I think she said J and A or something. And, again, this is a game we play. And then X amount of months later, her partner that she met was James Aaron. And
you better love that.
And again, that's what I would encourage you to do if you can hold it in that good a space. Write an entry as if you've already got the job, because you and the reason I say that to you is because you access that with quite a lot of ease. I didn't feel your vibration too much. You showed so much appreciation for this building. I could feel your love for it. So I would start turning towards as if you already have it. If you do that and you find that it just activates, I really want this job, even more, I can't feel happy without it, then I'd say maybe list 10 things you like about that job, and any other job, and if that still showed resistance, then I'd ease it off even more, and I do a process called WWW. What do I want? Why do I want it? And what do I have that matches it? And that again, it depends on where you are in relation to that. And,
hey, hold on a cotton picking minute. WWW. Okay, let's do that again, and I'll type that into the chat room. What do I want?
Yep. Why do I want it? And what do I have that matches it?
Now, the last point, why do I want it? Fair enough. What do I have that matches it? What does that mean?
Okay, so let's talk you through it in the last few minutes. So you want this job, obviously. Why do you want it? What is it about this job that makes you want it?
The wages are good, and it's doing something that I think is really inspiring and useful and transformational.
Exactly, and actually that was an excellent point. So why do you want it? Because it pays decently. Because it's something that I would enjoy. It's something that would inspire me and inspire other people. So you've gone from very specific, I want this job, to why do I want it, which is a bit more general. So what do I have that matches it? Well, what do you have that you enjoy? What do you have that inspires people? Hurrah! You've got the Barefoot Broadcast, which shows you that A, that you have achieved something that's like it, and B, you don't need it to come in this specific form to meet your criteria.
Got it. And Cheryl is saying,
sense?
yeah, absolutely. Carrie is enjoying the example of the job here, and Cheryl is saying, what do I have that matches it? This is interesting, and this is what we find, isn't it, with the law of attraction? It's that extra question that makes you think in a different way. So fair enough. Those are quite standard coaching questions, aren't they? What do I want, and why do I want it? But then you add the law of attraction turbocharge, if you like. What do I have that matches it? I see what you mean, and I think that's a great process.
Thank you. I came up with that. I mean, it does have a few more components, but in its most basic form, that's what it is. And it shows you that you aid, and again, hopefully, and that's why I suggested it last, because it's more general. If you find that the others are too specific and too resistant, it's like, what do I have that matches it? Well, I have well-being. I wanted this for the sense of security. I wanted it to help me to feel good. And then, what do I have that matches it? It shows you that you've done it before, or that you already have it, or that you don't need it to come in this specific job, which again eases the tension off. If you were to do one of the other processes I suggested, and you were to say, I need this specific job, well, you don't. You could be doing a number of other things that could do it. And again, it's just easing off, and showing yourself that you have the power to do it. And, you know, you are doing perfectly well as you are.
Tremendous. The symbol I have, perhaps before we go to the somewhat meditative end to the show, but the symbol I have for the show myself this evening, Nick, and your brilliant contribution to us here on the Barefoot Broadcast is a gold ring with a diamond in it. Okay, so generally speaking, it's been a gold ring, a lovely golden performance from you, despite your being a little bit under the weather with your cold, and then that incredible jewel, that diamond bit of coaching. What do I have that matches it? That's really worked for me, and I thank you for your help. It's been really seriously practical and pragmatic for me tonight. So thank you very much.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, in the later weeks we can like advance that and get a little bit more into it. But
Yeah.
I think we've the last couple of minutes, haven't we? So
We are. We've got 3 minutes to go. We've got 3 minutes to go, which you're welcome to use for your meditation process.
Cool. We need people to choose lottery numbers first.
Oh, of course. Okay.
So
Lottery numbers, please, in the chat room.
49. I'm not in the chat room, so people who just make it up.
I put mine in. I got 33.
I'll go with 24.
24 from Nick. Come on, anybody else? We need 6 numbers between 1 and, what was it? 44?
49.
49.
For the English lottery, anyway.
Yeah, okay. All right, we might have to let them catch up with us there. And I see that we've only got actually a minute left. Is that going to be useful at all to you, Nick?
Not. I would just say my thing would be is just think about what you want and what would happen if you were to get what you want. Again, this is going in specifics and if it's the least resistance. So if you had that £1 million, what would it feel like? What would you do? What would you actually do if you had it in your bank account now? I'd say to you, Carl, what would you do if you had that job? How would it affect your day? What do you see yourself doing during the day? Really live it out, really be it. And have fun with it.
And you're closing the gap then, aren't you? You're embodying the experience and bringing it out of the future, ever in the future, into your present.
Cool. I just want to pick 4 more numbers, Carl. Just go for it.
Well, yeah, let me tell you what's going on in there. We got 109, Lumpy Custer's being silly. So we've got 44, 5, 7, 24 and 33. We need one more sensible one. Come on, Lumpy, give us the other number, mate.
Well, did you say 109? Let's just go for 9 then.
All right, we've got the numbers, and I'll stick those up in Facebook tonight. And it comes to that time in every program when I have to press this button. So, Nick Font, Law of Attraction in Action, another wonderful hour. Thank you, mate, for being with us. I know it's been a bit tricky on your voice, but you get well soon and have a fabulous time, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you next week. Take care.
All right, mate. Get well soon. Take care. Lots of love. Bye for now.
Enjoy your millions and your job. Bye.